All right, bitches. So, with the recent news of Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, which I guess is going to be one of these, PS4 remaster kind of like HD updates to, you know, the a lot of like PS2 games and PS1 games that have been happening lately. This isn't really too much of a surprise. I read an interview with, oh boy, I can't remember exactly who it was, but he was talking about how all of the Final Fantasy games were available on the PS3 and up, except for Final Fantasy 12. So he had wanted to do a Final Fantasy 12 update. It might have been Nomura who said it. Yeah, I think it was Nomura. So this isn't really too surprising. This is, I guess going to be the last Final Fantasy game that's available, on like the HD type systems because, you're not able to really play PS2 discs on any of the recent PlayStation 3s. Now, the one thing that I do find interesting about this news, which I guess is something that should have been anticipated, is that it's actually going to be Final Fantasy 12, the international version, which is the Zodiac job system like version of the game where each like person is restricted to kind of like a job class, which is a quite a big change from the original Final Fantasy 12. And I would say this difference of versions is a bigger like gap than Final Fantasy X was, in terms of Final Fantasy X International, which is what they put out on the PS3 and PS4 remakes. So with this news of the Final Fantasy 12, international version, basically for the first time being released in the West here, I would like, I think, to record Final Fantasy 12 pretty soon then, because there was a release date, it's just at 2017. Now, that'll give me a little time, because I've mentioned several times how, the really long games, Shining Force 3, Xenogears, Final Fantasy 12, all easily will go, over 100 parts. Really, a fourth game, Dragon Quest 8, probably could be added to that list as well. But with how long Final Fantasy 12 is, and knowing that I'm going to want to complete the normal version before, Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age comes out, I probably will start Final Fantasy 12 pretty soon, within the next couple of months here, because I do want to get that done. Now, Shining Force 3 is going to be going on for the foreseeable future. I think I actually would probably be pretty surprised if I was done uploading Shining Force 3 in 2016. If I do get all the parts up, then that means I was busting my ass with that, because, it's going to take several hundred hours to complete Shining Force 3. But Final Fantasy 8 will take significantly less time. And the beginning of the playthrough, I started with a little bit of grinding, some grinding sessions. But after that, going through the game is going to be like a pretty quick pace compared to a lot of the other RPGs I've done. So once I'm done with Final Fantasy VIII, I probably will jump into Final Fantasy XII. There is another game that someone, on my Patreon, if you put $5 in, then, I've got it listed that, tell me a game to record, and I'll do that. And a guy told me to record Trails of Cold Steel, which looks like a pretty jazzy RPG, so I'll be doing that. So after, like, Final Fantasy VIII's done, Final Fantasy Type 0, I'll probably get Final Fantasy 12, and then Trails of Cold Steel started. So I guess look forward to that. That'll probably be, like, September-ish, I'll bet. But, later, bitches.